and we are live. Hi, good morning. This is Daniel. Thanks again for tuning in. I know we do a stream every morning, bringing in people who are in the entrepreneur space, also sharing different ideas. Today we have Datuk Sri Gary Chua, who's the president of MRCA, uh, Malaysia Retail Chain Association. Datuk Sri, welcome to the show. We have a bunch of people coming online. So, care to just explain a bit what MRCA is about for those people who do not know, and also what is your background in terms of MRCA and your career?
You see, MRCA was founded in 1992, and we have developed the membership the last two terms to 500 and almost 50 members. They are all chain members. The latest even to join in, people like Harvey Norman, Village Grocer, Asiana, Doom Cafe, and many others. People like Pokong, Osim. So we have total about 30,000 stalls, and this will employ easily perhaps more than 300,000 people in the marketplace, or maybe more directly, indirectly. There is. And today we are probably the most active NGO or association in Malaysia. We have more than 20 activities a year, and basically we do a lot of activities, whatever beneficial to our members, and also to represent, to voice their concern in whatever areas to the government and also the authorities to make business easier for them and also leaner, And for me, I actually started off way back in 1994 in the building services on maintenance under Roto Group, building maintenance and refurbishment. We rescued the Martrade building and many others. And today we do about 67% of the maintenance of high-rise in town. And we also venture into F&B during the 1998 crisis for some cash reasons. And that's basically my core business. And also on the board and advisors to a lot of companies like Health Wellness City, FusionX, Now, Good Morning Products, and T-Docs, Stem Cell, and many others.
So thank you a lot. I know. Let's jump into the matter at hand, because I know MRCA has been doing a lot, especially in terms of this crisis. And so there is actually before that, what are the sentiments from the members from MRCA, basically? Because currently the PM has announced the extension of the restricted movement order, and so how are the retailers holding up?
You see, the economy started to slow down last year, especially the last quarter, supposed to be with higher achievements, but rather it was quite lull, you see, based on the retail group management consultancy report as well. And then come January and then February, there was a very tremendous big hit. And then March, no need to say, we are in dire straits now. Many are still just below the surface or just on the surface. So very important, we still have to keep cool and be confident about the situation. That's why we have to also voice our very, very grave concern to the government and authorities that this is a very serious matter. This is not a financial, just a normal financial crisis in the 2008 or 1998, is it? And this is something is affecting worldwide, and Malaysia being an exporting country, trading country, so we also be very badly affected. And furthermore, the oil prices has down rock bottom, below 30 ringgit, below 30 USD. And we have to be really be on the, on the alert, and make sure that we can survive and sail through this difficult position, this difficult time actually.
I know MRCA is doing a lot, taking a really proactive approach, especially working with the government with various suggestions. Can you outline some of the things that you have actually proposed to the government?
You see, yesterday I also have another meeting with the economy minister and the group there. The main concern actually currently, you see, there are a few areas that we really need to address or alleviate. Otherwise, if the situation go beyond this, I think the whole economy will collapse. I think first of all is salaries. The government that they mentioned that is compulsory we have to pay salaries, but how can all the business sector and the retailers, people in general can pay if there's zero income? You see, so
Yeah.
like for example, UK they have subsidized 80%, and even Thailand has subsidized 50% with a ceiling of 400 USD.
Mhm.
So my suggestion to the government, actually before this session, this morning, uh, I texted to all the senior ministers, including the prime ministers who are in the cabinet, about my real serious grave concern. Salaries, it cannot be borne by the employers alone. We have been digged up because we're already suffering, everyone is suffering cash flow. There's no zero income.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is that the government must minimum at least subsidize 50%. Okay, then the balance of the 50% we can negotiate with our staff, and then we take it from there. See, and then this will alleviate a lot of areas and concern for all our members, and also the business sector in general. And the other thing was actually for example, the statutory compulsory payments, and also the payments that we have to make. For example, from EPF to what you call it, income tax,
Yeah.
and many other things, including insurance policies. This has to be included. Otherwise, all the policies will elapse as well. You see.
Yeah.
And the thirdly is that the rentals also another killer areas that especially in the mall areas, we have
Yeah.
to pay exorbitantly high rentals in view of some areas that are because of the iconic locations and all this. So these are areas, again, the government must take the lead. But I think some of the private malls has been very cognizant of the situation, and also been very generous by kickstarting, for example, this Sunway, Bangsa Village, and a few others. Even Pavilion has announced it. So these are good move to actually soften the blows and at least alleviate some of our very big concern. But again, this one shall be a free rental for the whole MCO period, is it? Not just for the 2 weeks, because they just extended the MCO of another 2 weeks, you see. So this is very important. And for the next 6 months, how to tie over the business sector and many of the people in retail, we definitely need some more cushioning. Example, we actually would like to appeal for 50% rental for the next 6 months, at least to tie over this period.
Yeah.
If the retail and the business sector die, and then I think collapse, and then everybody will lose out. You don't have tenants, and you also will lose income, and that will also spiral back. You see, so very important. We have to work as one now to support each other. And then fourthly, very important is the water in the system. That is the banks. You see, we
Yes.
have been talking to the government very seriously and very strongly that the banks must come in with a moratorium. And so far, they have announced 6 months. But don't forget, this is only for loans, you see, and term
Yes.
loans, but does not include trade lines like BA and others, which many of the business sectors are suffering. They are using this. If they don't include this, and plus insurance policies as well from the insurance companies, the system also would collapse, you see, because this is very important. And these are the areas that I think every authority or every party have to support. And banks has been making a lot of profits anyway in the past, and their liquidity are still very good. So actually, this is a high time they should do some CSR and some goodwill back to the customers they have. For example, for the next 6 months, no need moratorium, 50% rebate on the interest, because interests are still going. So
Yeah.
basically, actually, look at it, and the banks are not actually sacrificing anything. They're just protracting the installments,
Okay.
and you still have to pay interest. You see, they lose nothing.
That's
But it's a
something a lot of the entrepreneurs do not know actually. So they
uh,
assume that they don't have to pay anything for the next 6 months.
it's a cushioning, but the bank should actually show goodwill in this sense. Bank Negara should take the lead. I think that's very important. This also has been spelled out to the government, and
Yeah.
hope this will materialize.
So in terms of over what have been done by the government so far, like anything that we can actually applaud for their effort, and we're also following up with that, anything around the world that has shown leadership in terms of this area from the government or from the banking sector that Malaysia can follow or emulate?
You see, now the world is talking about a COVID bond, you see. COVID bond is just like during the post-war II, World War II, they also have this special bond for all the countries, most of the countries, to revive the economy and also to boost business, for all this business sector. I think this is very important. The government, I know we understand the government is short of funds, but I think the public and business sector, nobody cares about it, because when you're in dire street, you don't have nothing to eat, or you can't survive. You have to have retrenchment and all this. People just don't care. The government has to find the money. It's very important. There are a few ways I suggested to the government. For example, you should use all the GLCs or GLICs. For example, TNB should be giving a big discount of 30%, not 15%, 30% to the malls, so the malls can also help to cushion up to the retailers, in the business sector, you see. And perhaps to the public 20%, at least this will also help the public, because the public, the households, one way or another, they're all affected, you see. So this is a high time, because last year they make a tremendous record profit of $4 billion. And as a GLC for utilities, they should be public serving and not monetary driven, you see. So in per se, you see. So very important, I think. This is one area. And then the other sectors of the government, for example, the Ministry of HR, the Human Resources, they also have been collecting funds from us every month, for training, whatever. So they also have excess funds. These funds also should be pumped in. And then could be other GLC or GICs like Khazanah and even PNB. Everyone should chip in, because this is a national crisis. We're not talking about a crisis or just a problem for one sector or one family. It's affecting everyone, and this is something we have to be very, very determined, and really must have strong mind. That's why I mentioned to all the ministers, and even the Prime Minister texted to him that there should be a bold and firm and very fast and decisive decisions to be given to the people of Malaysia, the Malaysians, so that we can sail through this, and then people have the comfort. And now everybody at home sitting all having worried and so much of concern about the next meal we have, you see. I can see that, because there are so many calls calling me from all sectors of business.
So what should actually retailers do in this time of crisis? Like what are their options, and also how do they work with MRCA?
You see, I've been stressing a lot about digital, especially online business. So this is the right time actually to enhance our digital. I think one of our members has done a great job. For example, Sanhing, he has a big data on a few million customers, and who are actually all potential buyers. So even at this time of business, his business down by 60%, but not as bad as many who have down probably 80%, 90%. You think? But one setback is that they have the logistic problem, in the sense of government stopping them. So I'm also I just found out about it yesterday. So I've immediately taken action and given the information to the government and all the ministries that they should help. Online should be allowed to execute their business even during the MCO period. You see, this because many areas, for example, utensil they need to cook. You see, maybe break down and whatever, and many others were online business as well.
Yeah, there was a case over in there was a case of people wanting to change laptop and etc., and they cannot find at this period. So that is something that is as much as we think is retail or online is optional in terms of e-commerce, is something so ingrained into our society and ingrained into our lifestyle that we need all this from supply chain and from delivering to the end users.
And of course, it's good that we have to start upscaling once the MCO is lifted. And then, at this moment of time, I think all our the business sector and our retailers should conserve as much cash as much cash as possible. Even you have little, but you have to conserve it, because and have to talk to the banks. I mean the suppliers, whatever, to restructure the necessary way that you can still sail through. Is very important. to reserve that, you see. And of course, this is the right time. We have a lot of time to strategize and refocus what we can enhance our business further after the MCO have been lifted. For example, we have changed customer base. I give you an example of China.
Okay.
The China entrepreneurs are very dynamic. They really know how to survive. Example, you see, during the lockdown, after the lockdown, they have no business to do, you see. And some of the business are just gone, you see. So they see the potential, for example, medical supplies, masks and all these sanitizers. Many of them change, either buy new machinery or they convert their business or part of their business to diversify the tap on this short-term market. But at least that will sail through them and make them stay afloat, you see. And this is exactly some good examples that we have to be adaptable in business as well.
Yes, the other day we spoke to Hian Go, who is a venture capitalist down in Singapore. He was one of the companies that he invested is basically a fashion retailer, online fashion retailer. They invested in stuff like Bonito, I Love Bonito, and among other fairly other companies that are fairly famous. One of the things he highlighted that this particular entrepreneur was a bit depressed because in terms of they could not do business. That is like, no, you can, because you have a logistic platform already built out, and just retool your fashion e-commerce into a logistic platform to provide, because they have access to a lot of the rural areas in Indonesia. So that has something been happened. Is there any examples like this over in Malaysia that we should look out for?
We have many major retailers on the fashion, people like Pardini, who are doing extremely well. Even now, their business are, although affected, but would not be as bad as many others as well. So online is actually the area to go to. Eventually, retail, you have to have a balancing of both online and offline. You see, just offline brick and mortar will not keep you alive for the long term. And because nowadays the younger generation, the millennials, they are all going for online, especially, and for convenience. And then for this kind of situation, for example, lockdown or MCO time, people will be buying everything online, most of it.
So for our audience, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave in the comment. I will highlight questions to Dato Sri if it's possible. So Dato Sri, in terms of also, what would be your suggestion to retailers or to entrepreneurs, like how do they handle their staff and also their suppliers and their landlord in this time of crisis?
You see, for the staff, we have to be very honest with them that the cash flow situations, with zero income, nobody can pay you salary or pay salary. We love our staff. The first thing to do is to keep jobs, you see. Just as I mentioned to the government, we have to keep jobs. If there's no job, there's no income, there'll be chaos. Every family will suffer. Where's my milk powder? Where's my food on the table? And all this is very, very important that the staff must understand. So we have to give and take. As I mentioned, the salary should be shared by equally. At least the government subsidize 50%, then the balance we have to negotiate with the staff, maybe half, whatever. No, so they have to understand all this. Those who have leave, maybe go on take some leave, and to help the government company sail through. I even have staff who voluntary to have some pay cut, that kind of thing, you see. So those who have higher pay, they can also voluntarily do this, you see. So this is all very important. And to the suppliers, it's a long-term business with the suppliers. So also, just like the banks, we have to talk to them and restructure their payments. Maybe perhaps the next 6 months I can't pay you full. With the new once I resume business, we can pay you maybe part. So by the next 6 months, we could have settled all the old debts, you see. And this is one thing we have to be very honest about the whole situation. No point, hiding. You have to be very, very honest with the suppliers and also even the bankers.
And in terms of like, what can we expect in terms of the next 6 months? Like, if the situation does not improve, like, what would you foresee, like, in terms of your prediction?
You see, if the next 6 months situation doesn't improve, But I believe you'll improve tremendously. If let's say the government were to assist and come in to play a major role, take a leading role. You see, as they said, during crises and bad times, we need the best of leadership, and that's where the leadership shines. Good times, we don't need anybody. We just, any leaders can lead, they say. And this is something the government have to prove the leadership to the people that we can sail through along together.
Yeah.
As I said, the support is very, very important. It has to be something very drastic. Not you can't use just a normal sweat and that's to solve the problem. You need all the muscles available in the country, from all the GLCs to all the private sector, whatever available, to help each other, to support each other, to make sure we really go through this very, very, very difficult time.
And thank you for your leadership in terms of trying to push for this through the government. And for people who wants to actually get in touch with MRCA, I think Simon's in our comment who is actually reaching out, so you can always message Simon Wong. Just say you want to get hold of MRCA. Any final thoughts for consumers, like what consumers should do essentially?
Consumers, I think the government has assured there's enough supplies of food, so there shouldn't be so much of concern. Further, there's also online order, but maybe more expensive compared to, let's say, you go to the normal market. But this is something we have to bear with. Of course, stay calm and hope for the best. God bless, and we have to save everyone. We have to save jobs, save the economy, and very important, the most importantly, save our country.
Yeah, and thank you very much for doing this. And I know you've been working tirelessly with the whole team at MRCA, and also with a bunch collective task force of business users. So on behalf of the entrepreneurs, I'd like to personally thank you, and also Simon Simon, who is actually in the group, who is really hard at work, trying to work with the different retailers, from the F&B entrepreneurs to the other people. So thank you very much. For our audience who have any questions, you can actually message Simon in terms of how can you guys get involved in MRCA. And also for more details on MRCA, please go to their website, mrca.org.my. Thank you very much, Dato Seri. Really appreciate your time to be here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay. All right, good luck.